अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले सोऽयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भगवद गीता की जय। हरे कृष्णा। सेकंड okay, let's start with where we left off. So I will share the screen. Okay. So we are on verse number 7.16. We left off at 7.15. Yeah. And we discussed, or we ended at a very important point. So before that, there's like a fairly important topic that began in 7.14. There's a very important point that began in 7.14 that, or even there's a whole connection in the chapter, but the chapter begins with Krishna's energies. And one of the energies that is present in the material world is called Maya. And this is also Krishna's energy. And it's extremely, extremely, extremely powerful. It is Duratyaya, Mama Maya, Duratyaya. And it offers various choices to the jiva, and the jiva becomes attracted and entangled in those choices. So, and then Krishna offers a very simple way to, or a very straightforward, and I wouldn't say easy, but straightforward and simple way to get out of this entanglement is by bhakti. Mam eva ye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. That is 7.14. That those who surrender to me can easily get out of this ocean, tarantite, ocean of misery. So then the question became to this verse number 7.15 as to why do people don't do mam prapadyante? Why don't they surrender to Krishna? And there were many categories, 4. So there is the Mudha, Naradhama, Mayaya Pratah Jnana, and Asurim. So where we finished was we should try to, now we all have not fully surrendered to Krishna. It doesn't make us dushkritino, by the way. So I just want to clarify from last week. It does not mean. So 7.15 is namam dushkritino mudhaha prapadyante naradhamaha. So there are 4 types of dushkritinas, or people who don't surrender at all to me. And it is not that all of us have not surrendered at all to Krishna. Now, surrender is not binary. Okay, it's not like the surrender in a battle where you are either still fighting or you have surrendered. And the difference is the signing of the act of, or the whatever the terms and conditions of surrender. And typically a picture is taken when the 2 generals are sitting and one of them is signing. So that is a very clear binary action, but that is not the case here. And this is not that kind of a surrender. It is surrender in love, but still the surrender is gradual. So we are all at different levels of surrender. So we can call ourselves in both categories as partly surrendered and partly not surrendered. Okay, so because it's like a spectrum, and there are many people who are completely not surrendered. They are in their la la land, what we call as eat, drink, and be merry, enjoying life. Let God give them all the enjoyment and all the blessings to them so that they can be happy, no problem. We want to surrender, and we are at different levels of surrender. Now, what we discussed last week is to the extent we have not surrendered, okay, to the extent we have not surrendered, we should identify which of these 4 categories we are in, our non-surrender. And there, so that clarification I want to make, which I did not make last week. To the extent we have not surrendered, which category we fall in. And my claim or my assertion was that we fall in the Maya Prahitagyana category, because we have some understanding that we should make progress towards something beyond material life. Jnana could mean material jnana, or it could mean jnana about spiritual life. But the point is that as soon as that jnana we get, we either completely apply it for material sense gratification, which means we become naradhama heavily due to our conditioning. We just simply use that jnana, typically material jnana, for our sense gratification. All the scientists, engineers, innovators, they all are very good high thinkers. They have the capacity to think. They have the capacity to analyze. They can see other people suffering. They are logicians. And then they can think, hey, if he's suffering, maybe it is possible tomorrow I may be in that condition. Like that, a donkey or a dog does not think like that. Okay, like there is this story, this goat, in a butcher's shop, there are multiple goats. They are all eating their, whatever leaves. The butcher comes and catches one goat and takes him inside to cut. And that goat never comes back. The other goats don't have the intelligence to think, hey, where did this goat go? He never came back. Okay. So they cannot think that if something happened to him, tomorrow it will be my turn. But these jnanis can think in that way. Still, it doesn't strike them, what should I do about it? That I should do something about it. So they don't make progress, even though they have very good sense of logic. They don't make any progress towards spiritual side. So that is one category. Other category, and that is because their all this logic, their ability to analyze is all for sense gratification. That is called Maya Maya Aprahita. Aparita means this, it covers or it steals the capacity to analyze in the true sense. Or even if we hear about spiritual topics, we somehow think it is, in that moment we may feel inspired. The moment we come out, I say, this is actually true. What is that? That's not true. They keep saying about happiness, happiness. Real happiness is this one, enjoying with opposite gender, or going and having a good, good time with friends, or whatever. That is real enjoyment. These people keep talking about, you will be happy, you will be happy. This is all marketing scheme. In some future lifetime I will be happy. So I don't want to be fooled by this marketing. Or just there is basically some level of, you may not be that explicit in our thinking. Somewhere deep down we think that, okay, maybe later, once I get more proof, once I get more conviction in my heart, maybe then. Till then I will just stay connected, I will stay plugged in, so I don't miss out. It's like, joining the WhatsApp groups but never reading. And then, you see for 1 year 2000 messages have accumulated, you never read anything, but you never exited the group either. You keep getting, just stay connected. Is that a familiar feeling? Just stay connected but never use. So you stay connected. It's like, going in from this year, going out of that year. So all those things come into mind, and it's all because Maya has more influence on us than this spiritual jnana. So that is the point I wanted to make. And asuram are those flame blowers. So we must very carefully guard ourselves from these flame blowers. So that is the point. Any questions? You can raise your hand from previous discussion. Next. Then how does one come out of that situation? So that is the question. And the next verse is, so it's not like everybody is a dushkritina, because some people genuinely do come to Krishna, do come to Bhagavan. So why do they come to Bhagavan? For what reason? And in 16th verse, Lord Krishna gives 4 types of people who come to Bhagavan. Chaturvidha bhajante mam, jana sukritino arjuna, arto jigyasur artharthi, jnani cha bharatarshapha. So, what 4 types of people come? Chaturvidha, 4 types. Bhajante mam, they do my bhajan. Now, this bhajan may not mean pure Shuddha bhajan with a pure heart. People may come to Krishna out of a desire for some sense gratification also. Okay, they may go towards their own material means for sense gratification. Somebody tells them about Krishna and says, chalo, everything is a tool for sense gratification. Let's make Krishna also a tool. Maybe he can give sense gratification. Wherever we get sense gratification, we are happy. Whether it is from Krishna or from Maya, anywhere, what is that saying? जिस घड़े से घी मिले, or something like that. Whichever pot gives ghee, that is my pot. I don't care whether it is gold pot or earthen pot. As long as it is giving ghee, it's good. So, Chaturvidha bhajante mam, janah sukritino arjuna. But Krishna calls them, these people, as sukritina. Means that they are pious, because they got some idea that let's at least go to Krishna, even if it is for sense gratification. At least let's go to Krishna. So this Sukritina is opposite of Dushkritina, in the previous verse. Those who don't even come to Krishna and just stay entangled in Maya, they are Dushkritina. Krishna is being very generous and calling such people Sukritna. Now there are 4 categories: Arta, Jigyasu, Artharthi, and Jnani. Now these need to be rearranged. So into Arta and Artharthi, they are the sense gratifiers or sense gratification desires. Arta means who want to get rid of misery. Okay, and Artharthi means once they are free of misery, now they want more enjoyment. Okay, that's the broad understanding. So which one is more problematic, you think? Which one is more desperate situation between the two, Arta or Artharthi? Anyone?
Desperate will be, Artha will be somebody who's in deeper trouble. So that is a more desperate situation.
Yes, that is more desperate. So because when there is suffering, the first thing is you want to get rid of the suffering. That itself is enjoyment. To get rid of suffering is equal to enjoyment, isn't it? For one who is suffering of hunger, getting even plain bread is enjoyment. You know, bhukhe ko kiwad bhi papad lagta hai. So that is the Hindi saying. So Artha is somebody who is suffering. So sometimes, not sometimes, this is the nature of Maya. That Maya is Krishna's agency to teach us that pure sense enjoyment does not lead to eternal happiness. So, as long as you are a well-behaved citizen of this material world, you may get moderate level of enjoyment with some bounds and limits. But we rarely remain a very, very well-behaved citizen. And then Maya is very strict teacher. So you might have seen in some schools, for a very strict teacher, there are only 1 or 2 favorite or good students who like him. The 90% of the class dislikes them. Because most people are not very disciplined. So only those few students who are very disciplined, they are in the good books of the teacher, and the teacher is in the good books of those students. The rest hate the teacher because the teacher is very strict. Maya is a very strict teacher. You deviate a little bit, you get a kick in your butt. So just like I somehow, when I was probably making the slides, I was thinking of physics, just as a joke. But, this is the photoelectric effect. A high energy photon comes, these electrons in the metal don't want to escape the surface of the metal. They remain stuck. But if you have to make them escape or free of the metallic bonding, then you have to send a high energy photon like a kick. And then these metallic electrons, they become detached from the surface. So similarly, those who are too attached to Maya, Maya gives them a strong kick. And then they become detached and go to Krishna. So that's the analogy. Maybe I should change this picture. But the point is, Artha are those people who receive a kick in the butt from Maya, and then they go to Krishna to get rid of their misery. Now, once they are happy, then they want something more. And that makes them artharthi. That, okay, this enjoyment is good. I got disciplined. If I become more disciplined, I will get more enjoyment. So most people who go to Bhagavan remain in this Artha and Artharthi cycle. If they become too engrossed in sense gratification to the point of committing sinful activities, then they get a kick, then they get suffering. And then Artharthi. Like this, they keep suffering. Now there are two more. So that is one category in the domain of sense gratification. Then there are two more, jigyasu and jnani, who are not coming to Krishna for sense gratification, but they have genuinely something beyond sense gratification. Jigyasu means curious. So he doesn't want anything from Krishna. He's just curious to find out who is Krishna. So, and he's a neutral. If I like what I find, maybe I will go closer to him. Otherwise, I have my material world to go back to. So it's like, like a neutral. Let's see what it is. Jigyasu. And jnanis are those who are in search of spiritual path, in search of spiritual destination. So the jnanis are of many types. Broadly in Bhagavad Gita, for now, we have seen two categories. One is the jnana path, and even the bhakta is also a jnani because he knows about Krishna. So that is jnana mishra bhakti. So these jnanis are those who are looking for a spiritual destination. So that is the jnanis. So they come to Krishna. So is it clear that there are these four categories of people who approach Krishna? So, of course, in this order is better, increasing is better. Arta, they just want to get rid of suffering. Then artharthi, at least they go to Krishna, that because they know that Krishna will give me something. Krishna gives, thinking that today I have given, tomorrow he may actually come to me with love. Like a, selfish child and a father. There are some children who only remember the father when they want money. Father keeps giving in the hope that one day the child will come to me with love, not to ask something, not to ask for money. So in that mood, Krishna keeps giving. And jnani is somebody who actually comes to Krishna for spiritual advancement. Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes some very nice things. You must read all the purports. That even for the Arta and Artharthi, Krishna sends his devotees to these people to educate them. Now, they may be so engrossed in material enjoyment that they may ignore, or they may put it in the back burner. One day I will do. But Krishna is very kind. He always wants to send his messengers to these people. There is this very nice story in the Bible of the lost son. It's the prequel to the prodigal son. But this son leaves the king and goes away and thinks, I will manage my own life. The father is so interested in getting the son back. Now, he had many sons. Now, he could have said, okay, no problem. You want to go, you go. I have nothing to do with you. But even though he had other sons who were living with him, he was always thinking of this one son who had gone away. And he sends many ministers or many people to go look for him. So, like that, Krishna sends acaryas and gurus and saints to go find the lost souls and bring them back to him. So that is the analogy. So even for the arthas and artharthis, they may become jigyasu. They have forgotten their father, but one day they may think that, okay, let me see. There is so much being said about my so-called father. Let me see if he is really my father. So like that, one becomes a jigyasu and then comes to this level of jnana. Okay. Now, 7.17. Very, very important verse. Extremely important. Okay. So we'll come to that. Yes, Ragatmika Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I was just trying to relate to different devotees. In which category can they fall, just for my better understanding? Kindly suggest. So when we say Artha or Artharthi, can we say Dhruva was in this category? Because initially he had some...
Very nice. So Dhruva is, you tell me, Dhruva is in artharthi category.
Yeah.
So typically, now this is given very nicely in Shri Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu in a Nectar of Devotion. We will study. So one example is given of all of these four categories. But Dhruva, technically you can say he was Arta, he was suffering because of rejection from his father, and or rejection, or whatever you can say, the suffering he got from his stepmother, Suruchi. But typically that is not the intention with which he went to look for Lord Vishnu. His intention was not to um, get rid of his suffering. His intention was, I will get a kingdom bigger than my father. I will show it to them. So like a one-up attitude, you think you are big, I will become bigger. So that was the mood of Dhruva. Therefore, he is called a artharthi category. All right. Arta category in Bhagavatam. Anybody can tell me a very clear example of Arta?
Gajendra Maharaj.
Gajendra. Very nice. So he was in really suffering, He had been caught by the crocodile and he was really suffering. So he is called in the Arta category. Now, again, one should not mistake. These are not ordinary people or ordinary living entities. They are already very advanced devotees. But if at all we have to choose from Bhagavatam, Gajendra would be categorized as Arta. We should not connect that to the previous discussion that he was a sense gratifier. Okay. He had performed a lot of devotional service in his previous life as Maharaj. Okay, Jigyasu are considered the Shaunakadi rishis, and Jnanis are considered to be the four Kumaras. Okay. Now, all of these received now again connecting it to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, all of these ultimately received the mercy of Bhagavan directly, or a devotee of Bhagavan. And that is how they became great bhaktas. So that was the point in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu that was being made, that to convert from any of these four categories, you need the blessings of Bhagavan or his devotee. And that is exactly the point that Srila Prabhupada is also making in the purport. So Dhruva Maharaj got the mercy of Narad Muni as he was going in the forest. He gave him the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, like that. Okay. And Gajendra directly got the mercy of Bhagavan. Shaunakadi rishis, they got the mercy of devotee of Bhagavan, which is Suta Goswami. And the four Kumaras also got the mercy of Bhagavan himself. Yes, Ram.
What is the exact difference between Jigyasu and Jnani? Because inquisitive versus he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute, could those both be the same thing in certain cases, or what's the exact difference?
Jigyasu is curious about spiritual life itself. Okay, let's say he's trying to compare, should I move forward in spiritual life or not? What is spiritual life all about? Again, it is not a very binary situation, but it's a band. So yes, there may be overlap between Jigyasu and Jnani, but typically Jigyasu is somebody who is just curious about the spiritual path. Jnani is very clear that he wants to pursue the spiritual path, but which one? Because there are many. Is that clear?
Yeah, so Jnani basically wants to do some like religion basically, but isn't sure which one.
Religion, yeah, I don't know if I would use the word religion, but spiritual path, yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay, lot of discussion on this. Thank you. So let's go to now, who among these is the best? Now, Krishna is not going to give a full ranking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. but he will just tell which one is the topmost. So this 17th verse is extremely important. It tells who is the topmost. There's no point in doing ranking because the goal is for all of us to become number 1. Okay, number 2, 3, 4, no good. Okay, Krishna wants all of us to be number 1. So as long as he is telling us who is number 1, and that is what we should aim for, then what's the point about knowing who is number 2? And all of us can be number 1. Every single living entity in the entire material world can become number 1. There is enough space on the, unlike in the Olympic, podium, there is one space only for a gold medal, one for silver, one for bronze. Here, everyone can be number 1. So what is that number? Which one is number 1? Let us see number 17 verse. Tesham jnani nityayukta eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnanino atyartham aham cha samama priyaha. Very, very, very important verse. Almost one of the verse to be memorized. It's nice if you can memorize it. So tesham, very important word, that among all of these that have been discussed. Okay. So all the previous ones. Which previous ones? Jnani. So among all the jnanis, now within the jnanis, Krishna is saying there are sub-levels. Okay, so like it is from here we know that these are all categories or gradual, or there may be a levels within them. Vishishyate means the best. Okay, or he is the most special. So who is the Vishishyate? Nitya yukta eka bhaktir vishishyate. So this one has to clearly understand. And Lord Krishna is not mincing any words. He is not being, wishy-washy. He is not beating around the bush. He is very direct that the best. So you cannot be a Nitya Yukta Eka Bhakti in the Jigyasu category. You cannot be Nitya Yukta Eka Bhakti in Arta or Artharthi category either, because there you have some other intention. Arta means you want to get rid of some suffering. So you have attachment to getting rid of suffering. You have attachment to something, artharthi, to something. Jigyasu means you are attached to getting the information itself and then decide. But among the jnanis, the best one is Nitya Yukta Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate. That such a person is the best. So, who is the best? Who is always Nitya, always engaged in Eka Bhakti also. Okay, very clearly it is said, not divided, singular, exclusive bhakti to me. So from here onwards we will see this notion of Eka Bhaktir. Now you all can understand also, we all can understand that we really, really, really appreciate that kind of love where we get 100% of it. If you receive 100% of someone's love, it is, I cannot explain, but it is the best situation. So I don't need to probably explain more now. This is a phenomenon that every living entity can realize. And Krishna is no different. He really, really, really would like to see that one-pointed love in our heart towards him, Eka Bhakti. And this concept of Eka Bhakti will come many, many, many times in the rest of Bhagavad Gita. You will see such words as Ananya. That is the most important or most common way of expression of this exclusive bhakti to Krishna. Anya. Anya means other. An means no. So no other. So our love is not undivided and exclusive to Krishna. And then in the next two lines, Krishna says that what happens? It's bidirectional. That I love him with all my heart and he loves me with all his or her heart. So priyo hi jnanino atyartham. Atyartham, like excessive. There is excessive love. Priyo hi jnanino atyartham. That I am very, very dear to such a jnani. Aham sa cha mama priyaha. And he is very dear to me. So priyo hi jnanino atyartham aham. That is the full sentence. And then sa cha mama priyaha. That in this, or similarly, he is very dear to me as well. So that is how the next two lines of the verse are. That's what they mean. Okay. So very clearly Krishna is saying that my bhakta, and one who is one-pointed bhakta of me, ananya bhakti towards Krishna, nitya yukta eka bhakti, is the best. So that is the answer. Very clearly Krishna is giving the answer here. Okay. The translation of these, one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is very dear to me. Okay. All right. What about the others? Number 18. So there are so many others that are left over yet. So who is left over, or who is? So there are two understandings of this verse. Udaraha sarva evaite jnani tvatmaiva me matam asthitah sahi yuktatma mameva anuttamam gatim. Very beautiful verse. That udaraha sarva evaite, that all these other ones which are left over, okay, are udaraha. They are also very noble, very generous, very magnanimous. So Krishna is saying, yes, at least they came to me. So here udaraha sarva evaite. Evaite means these people. Now this can refer to Arta, artharthi, and jigyasu, and the remaining jnanis who are not eka bhaktir vishishya, the nitya yukta eka bhakti, because there can be other jnanis who are not nitya yukta eka bhakti. They may be following jnana path. Okay. So all these put together are also very noble, are also very nice. And but in the next line he says jnani tu atmaiva me matam. Again, any verse with a tu, you must mark it. So, but jnani, among all of these jnani, and here jnani is referring to either the jnani as a category, and then the other means the remaining three, or if jnani means the bhakta jnani, then the others means the three categories plus the remaining jnanis. So there are both interpretations of this verse. But basic point is that Krishna is saying that all of these are also very nice people because they come to me for some reason. But the best one is the jnani, or the jnani who is nitya yukta eka bhakti, and he is just like me. Atmaiva me matam. He is in my heart. Atma eva, or he is like me. He is one with me. So Krishna is expressing his extreme love. You know, we call our child, you know, dil ka tukda. Hindi mein se, we say dil ka tukda. He's a part of my heart. So it is an expression of love, atmaiva, that they are just, you know, they are one with me. They are in my heart. Asthitah sahi yuktatma, engaged in this way, mam eva anuttamam gatim, he attains the highest destination. So, the topmost devotee, he continues to do Nitya Yukta Eka Bhakti, and what does he get? Anuttamam gatim, mam eva, he comes to me, and that is the highest destination. Anuttamam, the topmost. Uttama, Anuttama means really the topmost. Topmost among topmost, best among the best. Anuttamam gatim, he gets the highest destination. Okay. Translation: all these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal. All right. Now, what happens to the other devotees or the other people who come to Krishna? That is not part of the verse, but like I said, though they also make progress toward the stage of pure devotion or Shuddha Bhakti. Krishna sends his devotees to them to take his message, but it takes time because it depends on their devotion and how quickly they make progress towards Krishna through bhakti. Okay, so all these other people. Now, the next verse says how long it takes, okay, for these people to come to me. Now, again, it depends on speed, how quickly one makes progress. But what is a common speed, or what is the common time frame? How long does it take for them to come to Krishna? The answer is many, many births. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate vasudevah sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. So it takes many, many lifetimes. Bahunam janmanam ante. Bahunam, many. Bahut. Bahunam means bahut, so many. Janmana, janmanam ante. After, anta means after. Janmanam, so many births. Jnanavan, all these Jnanavans. So here it is referring to these Jnanis, means the other Jnanis, let alone the Arta, artharthis and jignasus. They also are included in that by extension. If the Jnanis have to take many, many lifetimes, what to speak of the people who are even less advanced than them? So this has to be understood by upalakshana. Upalakshana means by extension. It is, does not, everything does not need to be included within the words of the verse. So by extrapolation or by intrapolation on the left-hand side of the curve, so to say, you have to understand that if the Jnanis who are not bhaktas, even the bhaktas are Jnanis, because they know the highest knowledge that Krishna is Bhagavan. So every bhakta is a Jnani as well. Not every Jnani may be a bhakta. So these other Jnanis, and therefore by extension, even the Artas, Artharthis and Jignasus. I hope that is clear. They come to Krishna. So all these people, many, many lifetimes, Bahunan Janmanamante, especially the Jnanis, they come to Krishna and they Mam Prapadyate. They surrender to Krishna in love. Mam Prapadyate means they take to full bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti of Krishna. Mam Prapadyate means to fully surrender oneself. Atma Nivedanam. Full Atma Nivedan, full surrender of oneself. That Krishna, I am yours. Do whatever you want with me. I am fully yours. Whether suffering comes or happiness comes, I will treat it as your gift to me. That is called Mam Prapadyate. That Krishna, I am fully yours. So they take full shelter of Krishna. And they consider Krishna to be their master. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. For me, my Vasudeva, my Krishna is everything. That is really the meaning of surrender. To consider Krishna as one's everything. To completely feel dependent on Krishna. If Krishna gives something, good. If Krishna doesn't give something or anything, still good. Okay. Alabdhe va, vinashte va, bhakshya achhadana sadhane. What is the third line? Alabdhe va, vinashte va, bhakshya achhadana sadhane.
Aviklava.
Aviklava matir bhutva. Dhiya harim eva dhiya smaret. Thank you. So, whether one gets something or not, alabdheva, or if he had something and it got taken away, vinashteva. All the material facilities, bhakshya, achhadana, sadhana, things to eat, wear, all these basic necessities, whether one gives or not. Avliklava matir bhutva, with one pointed attention. Harim eva dhiya smaret. One pointed attention, one is absorbed in the thoughts of Hari. Harim eva dhiya smaret. In his heart, one is remembering Krishna. So this is a very beautiful verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, 2.1.114, 114. So that is full shelter, Vasudeva Sarvam Iti. So, Sa Mahatma Su Durlabhaha. Such a person is very rare. Now, why it is that such a person is rare? So one more point to understand from the point of view of Bhakti. Bhakti, we say, is very straightforward and much simpler, much easier than Gyan path. So here this verse is talking about Jnanavan, those who were the jnanis, who took the long path. And after so many lifetimes, ultimately they came to the point of surrendering to Krishna or take up Krishna Bhakti. So this is the connecting back to that analogy of staircase versus elevator. So it is not, so please understand this point. This is not directly from Bhagavad Gita, but what was said was there are multiple paths for spiritual progress. Primarily two paths, Jnana Marg and Bhakti Marg. Nishkama Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga are just three levels, three variations of that Jnana Marg, all right, at a high level. So we are dealing with two main paths. The staircase is the Jnana Marg, okay, and but the thing is, you don't need any external help of Bhagavan. In elevator, it is Bhakti, but you need help of Bhagavan. It's like electricity. You need the electricity for the elevator to work. In Gyan Marg, you have to do the whole work. So you don't need external help called electricity, but you have to put in all the hard work. And let us say it is a 100-story building. The point is the staircase does not go to the 100th floor. You must understand staircase goes only up to 99. Then you have to get off the elevator, the staircase, and take the elevator, and then at least one level is left that only elevator goes. Which means that to go to Krishna, Gyan Marg is not sufficient. If you have to go to Krishna, Bhakti is the only way. So that destination is known as, you will see in 8th chapter and then in 15th chapter, Tad Dhama Paramam Mama, my Dhama. Krishna says, In Bhagavatam, it is called Goloka Vrindavan Dham. By Gyan Marg, you cannot go there. As a Jnani, one can go all the way to the moksha or Brahman level, but then one has to do bhakti if he wants to go higher. So you can go up to 99 if you survive, but then you will have to take up bhakti. And such a person is very rare. First of all, he has to survive the 99 floors. Chances are very high one will deviate. One will stop. One will say, enough. I cannot go higher. This is too hard. But if someone is able to reach there, first of all, that is itself rare. And then one, at that point, one performs bhakti and goes to the highest level. Vasudevah Sarvamiti. Such a Mahatma is very rare. Sadurlabhaha, Sudurlabhaha. All right, I hope that is clear. All right, any questions at this point? Now we are making a big transition into next topic of Bhagavad Gita. Yes, Ram.
So just to clarify, this Bahunam Janmanamante verse is exclusively referring and talking about Gyanis and not Bhakti people?
And not Bhakti people, yes, exactly. Now also Bhakti is not a cakewalk. Okay. Bhakti is not a cakewalk, but this verse is definitely talking about Gyanis because it starts with Bahunam Janmanamante. Who? Bhaktanam mam prapadyate? No. Jnanavan mam prapadyate. So these Gyanis, they surrender to me. And these Gyanis are already very advanced. That means, technically speaking, this verse is talking about those who have reached the 99th floor. They are fully fixed in the devotional or in the spiritual path. Sorry, not devotional, but spiritual path. Okay. And then he must surrender to Krishna if he wants to go further. Okay. Now, different acaryas may interpret this differently, and that is allowed. There is no problem with that. So there can be, but those all understandings are aligned with one another. They are not identical, but they are aligned. Now, this is also another topic of that comes with maturity in bhakti. What is the difference between when two acharyas give slightly different meanings of a verse? One must try to see, are the meanings aligned? Typically, unless they are identical, we say they are not aligned. Okay, I hope you can understand. The best alignment is what? When they are identical. That part we all understand. But maturity, with maturity, we can understand that even if two interpretations of a verse are not identical, how to know that they are aligned? And for that, a deeper understanding of Shastra and Siddhanta is necessary from multiple sources. Srimad Bhagavatam study, therefore, is very good. And when you do Srimad Bhagavatam, because it is much more vast and deep, many finer points of Bhagavad Gita also become clear. Okay. And then one is able to appreciate the different interpretations. Oh, yes, this interpretation also makes sense. That one also makes sense. This interpretation matches with this section of Bhagavatam. That interpretation matches with that section of Bhagavatam. So this verse could have been said in this, understood in this way or that way, and so on. Okay. So Bhagavatam, therefore, is called as our Mool Siddhanta, or the most fundamental evidence. And that itself is the number one or the only topic of Tattva Sandarbha, where Jiva Goswami establishes Bhagavatam as the basic evidence. And if there are any seeming differences in various interpretations of acaryas, one has to use the master law book called the Bhagavatam to resolve the understanding. So all this I went a little deeper, but yeah. So I have taken one specific line of thought with 7.19. There could be other interpretations, but they are all aligned to our Gaudiya Vaishnav Siddhanta. Okay. Yes. Rajvidya Prabhu, Ragatnika Mataji.
Krishna Prabhuji, just wanted to confirm this 21114, which book are we referring to? Is it Bhagavatam or no, not Bhagavatam?
12114, not 21.
12114 is Bhagavatam.
2.114 of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu.
BRS, okay. This is the Labdeva, Alabdeva shlok, right?
Alabdheva Vinashteva.
Okay. Thank you, Krishna.
Yes, Shrikar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Could you elaborate on, I might have missed this, but could you elaborate on why Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga all come under Jnana Yoga?
No, they don't come under Jnana Yoga, but they are part of the Jnana Marg, is what I said. And yes, you can refer to previous videos where I explained. But in summary, the point is Nishkama Karma Yoga starts with developing detachment from the fruits of action.
Oh, I see. Okay.
One questions, why am I even doing actions if one develops natural detachment from the fruits? And when that develops, the next natural step is to develop detachment from
For objects.
actions that produce those fruits.
Okay.
Jnana is, but in jnana, you simply develop internal detachment towards the actions. Externally, you do the minimal actions to maintain your body. In Dhyana Yoga, at the highest level, even that ceases when you go into Samadhi.
Mm.
Okay, that why even do external actions? What's the point? Just
Yes.
no actions at all. Okay, so
Yeah.
Jnana Yogi goes to the forest. That is why in 6th chapter, you will see in the process, the first thing that is said is go to an isolated place, solitary place. In Jnana Yoga, it is not said like that.
Right. Okay.
So you give up external actions also. In Jnana Yoga, you give up, internally you give up the desire to perform actions, but you continue to perform actions simply for maintaining your body. That aspect also disappears in Dhyana Yoga.
Right. Okay.
So they are like one, I said, broadly they can be put under Jnana Marga.
Okay. Because yeah, in Nishkama Karma Yoga, you get detachment towards the result of the action. So in a sense, that itself is a detachment process. And Dhyana Yoga, it's like you get detachment from performing any action at all.
So it's all about detachment. The difference is detachment to what?
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu.
All right. You can lower your hand. Okay. Now we go to next topic, very important. So we have heard from Vedas, or Arjuna has heard, and whoever is listening or trying to understand from Bhagavad Gita must have heard that devatas also can give artha and artharthi, can help artha and artharthi. So what about other categories of people? So there are these other categories of people as well who worship the devatas. What about them? Okay. So that is the topic covered in 4 verses 20 to 23. Now this requires maturity to understand, but one has to understand that Krishna is speaking these verses. Krishna is speaking these words. So let us see what Krishna is saying. Okay. But please understand that it requires a lot of maturity to understand these verses. Okay. So please try to understand them with a open mind and with the understanding that Krishna is speaking these words. Okay. And I will try to be as close to the Sanskrit of the direct words as possible, so that nobody should think that this is an interpretation or some kind of spin or a twist given by some acharya. We will directly see from the highest or the topmost acharya in this case, which is Krishna himself, because it is a sensitive topic. So let us see. So who are we talking about? We are talking about those who are attached to or attracted to or worshipping the demigods or devatas. And in the next slide, I will discuss more about who are the devatas and how should we approach them if we have to approach them. So let us first see these 4 verses. Kamaihi taistaihritagyanaah prapadye anya devatah tam tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyatah svaya. So now Krishna makes a very important point that those who have desires, okay, kamais tais tair. So kama means desires, and desires here mean desires for sense gratification or material desires. Okay, that is the kamaihi. Tais tair means this and that, for whatever. Tais tair, for this, for that, and that, and that, and that, and that. I want this, I want that, I want that, I want this. So that is all the various desires. And these are the people who are hrita jnana. Now you remember, maya apahrita jnana. So whose real intelligence has been stolen by these desires. And these are the options. Again, Maya is offering these options. Hey, you can have this, you can have this, you can have this, you can have this. All these things. So those who have been, those whose intelligence, the translation is those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires. What do? One option is they could come to Krishna. That was the artharthi option given in 7.16, but they have other options also. Prapadyante anya devatah. They surrender to, or which means they submit to, or they take shelter of, prapadyante anya devatah, to other demigods. That's the translation of devata. Okay, so either you can understand it as demigods, or if you are more comfortable, just in your mind, whenever demigod is used, you convert it to the word devata, devi or devata. Okay, and in the next slide, I have several examples of who are the devis, devatas are being referred to. Tam tam niyamam asthaya. And those people who have these material desires, they follow the procedures of their worship that are specified for those devis and devatas. Okay. Prakritya niyatah svaya. And they, now this is a very important line, prakritya niyatah svaya, that in this way they fulfill their desires. Or what it actually means is that they get controlled by their nature, or they get swayed by their own nature. What it means is this. What this is showing is closed-mindedness. Okay, only one commentary brings out this point. Closed-mindedness. Or in other words, in English, we call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. What it means is you know what you want. Now you're only going and looking which option in the market will give me what I want. You see? And once you find I will get what I want in this shop, in this store, you go get it from there. And then what will you get from that store? Will you get something else? No. That store was meant to sell or give this item that you wanted. You cannot get anything else. That store is, if it's a whatever, cloth store, you're not going to get fruits in a cloth store. You'll get fruits. Just as an example. Okay. You won't get jewelry. So if you go to a jewelry shop, you won't get clothes or fruits. So these people, they know what they want. And especially they want material desire, material sense gratification objects. They go to demigods. They pay the price, which means tam niyamam asthaya. They follow those procedures, those rituals that are specified in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedas to satisfy or to please those devatas. And then they get those objects of sense gratification and they are happy. Which means if you try to tell these people about a higher principle of Bhagavad Gita and of developing love or bhakti of Krishna, they say that's not their nature. That's not what they internally want. And therefore, they don't get attached to it. They don't get attracted to it. Externally, they may, do something. But internally, even if they come to Krishna, they only want to fulfill their desires. And by the way, Krishna never fulfills unnecessary material desires of people. Never. That's not something one can get from Krishna. Krishna only gives those things which are suitable for one's bhakti. So if one is very distressed, and if Krishna thinks that if this person's material situation will improve, and then he will be able to do bhakti, he will improve the material situation, no doubt. But he will not give it like unnecessarily too much. That will take you away from bhakti, because Krishna knows how to discriminate. The devatas, they may know how to discriminate, but they are obliged to give because the various rituals and procedures have been followed. That is how the Vedic system works. So they are obliged to give, even though they may know that this may not be very suitable for this person. Like Brahmaji to Hiranyakashipu. He did all the requisite practices, rituals to please Brahmaji. Brahmaji had to give him the boon of almost being immortal. And Hiranyakashipu misused it thoroughly. Okay. So that is the situation. They get swayed or controlled by their own nature, swa prakriti, prakritya. So they get what they want and they use it to forward their own mentality. No change of mentality happens in the Devata worship. That is the point. Because the purpose is not to change the mentality or the heart. The purpose is sense gratification. So what does Krishna say? Okay, so such people are, so there's a couple of more, Hrita Jnana. Okay, now what does Krishna do? Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhaya architumicchati tasya tasya achalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. So that yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha, that whatever form of a devata this people want to become bhakta of, Now, bhakti doesn't mean Krishna bhakti. Therefore, we must say Krishna bhakti. Okay, bhakti can be towards anyone. Bhakti can be towards, even a human being. We call Matra Bhakti, bhakti towards my mother, or Desh Bhakti, bhakti towards my country, or it could be bhakti towards some devata also, like, Surya Bhakti or some other bhakti. So, whatever form of bhakti that one does, Shraddhaya Architum Ichhati, and desires to do archana or worship of that devata, tasya achalam shraddham tam eva vidadhami aham. I make him firm in that line of worship, because Krishna is saying, I am not attached that he should come to me. Arey, why did you go there? You must come to my store. If you went to some other shop, I will abandon you. Krishna is the Paramatma in everybody's heart. So if one wants to go somewhere, Krishna says that's totally fine. So Krishna is neutral, completely neutral, and he's unbiased. If you want, this is also showing the concept of free will in our heart, that if we desire something, Krishna allows that. If we want to go to a particular devata, Krishna is not attached. Why you didn't come to me? Okay, so not like that. You are free to go wherever you want, and Krishna says that I give them tasya achalam shraddham. I give them achala. Achala means fixed, immovable. Achal, fixed shraddha, to follow that path strongly. Sataya, next 22. Sataya shraddhaya yuktas tasya aradhanami hate labhate ta cha tatah kaman maiva vihitan hitan. So, and Sataya shraddhaya yuktas, equipped with such faith, with such shraddha, one does aradhana of that deity. So, because of shraddha, the faith given, the determination given by me, he is able to worship somebody else. So, Krishna is not competing with them. He's not having a race with the other devatas. The other devatas are ultimately Krishna's servant only. We will see that. Labhate cha tatah kaman. And like this, they get their desires fulfilled. Labhate, they get it. Cha tatah kaman, those various desires they get. But last line is very important. Maya iva vihitan hitan, that but those things are actually arranged or provided by me only. Because ultimately Krishna is the owner of everything. Devatas don't own anything. Devatas just take what Krishna gives and they give it to their bhaktas. So if somebody goes to a devata and asks for something, they just take it from Krishna. Krishna gives to the devata and gives it to the person. The person thinks this is devata's private property that I have got. No, they don't know that. They think like that. But the reality is Maya iva, that ultimately I am the one who is giving. Okay, but people don't see that. They become happy and they go. They never come back to the devata either. Sometimes devata thinks, why did I give to this person? He came, took and went and never showed his face again. Sometimes they don't even say thank you. Well, thank you and all that is built into the worship, that aradhana. So yes, they say that, but the main objective is to get. Give, never to love. 23rd verse, very, very important. So I hope you all have your Bhagavad Gitas, right? Where is your Bhagavad Gita? Show me. Everybody has? All right. Chalo, good. So there is a problem. Okay. So let us see. I didn't advance this slide. So I let people make their own free choices. But Mai iva vihitan hitan. Whatever they get from the demigods ultimately is coming from me, right? We just discussed that. But there is a problem. 23rd verse, very important. Antavattu phalam tesham. That the fruits that are given by the demigods are antavat. Antavat means what? They have a anta. What is the meaning of something that has a anta? Ram?
And
And but what is it? What is another way to say something that has an ending is called what?
temporary.
Temporary, yes, or limited. Right? Limited and temporary, think about it, they are synonymous. Anything that is temporary is limited, because if it was unlimited, it would not be temporary, like Draupadi's sari. Remember, it was unlimited, therefore it was unending, right? So it was not temporary. So temporary and limited are synonymous in that sense. So the fruits or the benefits, the rewards that the demigods give are antavat. Very important word. If somebody asks where it says they are limited, you should say 7.23 antavat. They have a ending, which means they are limited. Antavattu phalam tesham. Okay, those fruits are temporary and limited. So after doing so much bhakti, and the bhakti to the devatas is not easy either, it's very hard. So after doing so much hard work, what they get is only limited results. So I have put this little graphic here. Pay more and get less. There is something called pay less store. Okay. But here the thing is pay more and get less. So you, ideally, an intelligent person should not go to such a store, right? Where you pay more and get less, isn't it? We want a store where you pay less and get more. What is that store? That is Krishna. So therefore, the people who pay more to get less are called alpamedhasam, people of small intelligence. Alpa means small, medhasa means intelligence. So tad bhavati alpamedhasam. They are people of less or small intelligence. Alpamedhasam. Obviously, isn't it? Why? Because with the same amount of love for me, they can get unlimited and eternal happiness. They just think that this limited happiness is the maximum that is available. There is nothing else available. It is like you go to a market and you just go to a iron shop where iron products are available. You don't even know that there is a gold shop where you can buy gold. And suppose they are both the same price. So wouldn't you call such a person idiot who goes to iron store when for the same price you can buy gold, same amount, right? So that is what Krishna is saying in the next two lines. Devan deva yajo yanti, that those who worship the devas, they go to the devas. Mad bhakta yanti mam api, but my bhaktas, my devotees, mad bhakta yanti means they come. Api mam or mam api, they come indeed, or definitely or certainly they come to me. Now it is for us to realize what we want. We want good husband, good wife, good this, good car, good job, which will all be antavat, limited to one lifetime, or Krishna, which is eternal. And this goes back to not being able to realize that getting Krishna is a much, much better option. We think whatever we get in this life, material thing, is the highest we can get. And that will give us the maximum possible. We know it is limited, we know, but we think that that is all we can get. There is nothing higher. And this lack of proper understanding that there is nothing higher than what is available in material world is called what? What is that called?
Frog mentality.
Hmm?
Frog mentality.
Okay, there is a more important and fundamental word. Shamlila Mataji?
I'm trying to think, Prabhuji.
Are?
Ajnan.
Hmm?
Ajnan.
Yes, it is called ajnana, or the more direct word is avidya. This is the fundamental avidya, that the fruits of the material world are the best fruits. The spiritual fruits and the highest fruit being going to Krishna's destination is the such a more sweeter fruit, that inability to understand that is avidya. Okay, so that is 23. So the summary of this whole discussion, please pay attention, is that it's not bad or it's not wrong to go to the devatas. Okay? But one should understand what one will get. And Krishna is directly saying in the Bhagavad Gita that by going to the devatas, by design, the devatas are not equipped to give more. They will only be able to give material objects of sense gratification. They cannot give a spiritual destination. That only Bhagavan can give. Only Bhagavan gives moksha, not devatas. Okay? So those who do bhakti of devatas, they are either consciously doing it for sense gratification, or unconsciously they think that that is the highest result I can anyway get. So let's get the highest. They are simply unaware of a higher result. And the root of that is called, or this is the root problem, is called avidya. So Krishna is saying, if you want the higher result, come to me. But if you want to go to the devatas, no problem. Please go and you will get results of the material world. I will take the question in 2 minutes, okay? You can keep your hand raised if you want. It will help me to know that I have to pause. So an important point to understand is that at the same time, we should never disrespect the devatas. Okay? Devatas are themselves devotees of Bhagavan, but they have a certain purpose to govern the material world. The purpose of the devatas is mainly to give these objects of sense gratification to the people who come to them. Okay? They will not give to those who don't come to them. This itself is a good thing, because if you consider the masses, they don't even come to the devatas. They are simply in their own lala land, what is called as eat, drink, and be merry. They are enjoying on their own level, and they are suffering out of it. By realizing that there is a higher authority called devata to go to is itself progress from that eat, drink, and eat, drink, and be merry mentality. And then one may realize that, so this is a gradual progress. One may realize, oh, after doing so much bhakti of the devatas, I still get temporary, antavattu phalam tesham, temporary results How can I get more? Because everybody wants more. There's this saying, no, ye dil mange more. What was that an ad for? I forget.
Pepsi.
Pepsi. Okay. Yeah. Ye dil mange more. So nothing is satisfactory. You always want more. So after doing long worship of devatas, one thinks that how can I get more? And then one can potentially go to the worship of Krishna. So that is how it is better than just pure gross sense gratification. So it is meant, devata worship or demigod worship is good for the purely materialistic people, but Bhagavad Gita is directly giving a higher understanding. And therefore, we must never disrespect the devatas. In fact, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, one of the limbs of bhakti is called Anya Deva Avagya, that never disrespect any other Anya Devatas. Now, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is directly talking about Krishna Bhakti. Therefore, the word Anya Devatas, never disrespect. This is limb number 17 of Bhakti. So who are the devatas, demigods? Devatas, devis, or English translation is demigods. So one of the potential lists you can find is in Srimad Bhagavatam. There are so many, 33 million devis, devatas. Okay, so Krishna has a huge hierarchy. It, in these days in news, it comes, United States government. How many? 3 million people, it seems, that Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, they are saying Doge, whatever, Department of Government Efficiency, they will reduce the number of people in the government, right? So for a small, tiny country like United States on a tiny planet, in a tiny galaxy, you need 3 million people to govern the remaining, 300 million. So it's not a surprise that for Krishna's government, which is controlling the whole material creation, you need 33 crore or how much? 330 million. That is the size of his government. All right. Anyway, so we cannot list 330 million in a book. That would be a pretty thick book. So some are listed. Example is there in Srimad Bhagavatam. Some examples are there. Indra, Prajapatis, Mother Durga. Now, many people have a lot of faith in Mother Durga. I myself included. Vasus, Aditi, Ashwini Kumaras, Yamaraj, Brahmaji, Varunadev, Surya, Chandra, etc., 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 etc. Okay, so these are the Devis and Devatas. So even the Devis and Devatas are Krishna's devotees. Now, we must not disrespect them. If we come across them, let's say we are going on a dham, we come across a temple. What should you do? Definitely you should not say, I disrespect, chalo. I will not even look at your face. No, that's not good. We should respect them. We should go and offer our respect. And we should request them to bring us closer to Krishna. That is something which we can ask. What we should not ask is for objects of our sense gratification. But that is the usual prayer in the Vedas. The Karma Kanda sections of the Vedas, all the prayers towards devatas are for sense gratification. That's their function. Again, I told you, for bringing the masses who are not even surrendering to anyone, it's meant for them. So when we go to encounter any Devi or Devata, we can definitely ask them for bringing us closer to Krishna. And there are so many examples of this. In the Srimad Bhagavatam itself, there is such a nice example of the gopis. Now, the gopis are the topmost devotees of Krishna, and they are not confused about Krishna Bhakti at all. The last people to be confused about Krishna Bhakti would be the gopis, right? And they also worship Mother Durga. Another name for Durga is Katyayani. And there's a whole chapter on the worship of Mother Katyayani or Mother Durga by the gopis. And what do they ask Mother Katyayani? Give us more bigger palaces to live in, more jewelry, give us more beauty. Is that what they ask? No, that's not what they ask. They ask one and only one thing, which is, please give us Krishna. Let Krishna never disappear from in front of our eyes. That is what they ask Mother Katyayani, and they get it. So directly we have praman or evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam that what should be the mood of Krishna bhaktas towards the Devis and Devatas. And that is to be very respectful, and if we have to ask for Krishna Bhakti. All right. Okay, questions? Yes. Ragatmika Mataji.
Two questions. One is Lord Shiva is not on the list.
Yes, I purposefully skipped him. And the reason is that Lord Shiva's position is special. He is neither demigod nor Bhagavan. Okay, now in many places, again, Srila Prabhupada has written that in Bhagavad Gita purports that Lord Shiva is to be considered as demigod. Even in this verse 2.32 through 7, twice you will see the mention of Rudra and Shiva. Okay, so, but that is a much deeper topic. One has to understand it in proper context. So to avoid that, it will become a long topic, because to properly understand the position of Lord Shiva. Okay, so I have other videos, I think, on the channel. I think Hari Parshad Prabhuji has one. But we must understand the position of Lord Shiva very clearly. There is a verse in the Brahma Samhita which says that Lord Shiva's position is almost like that of Lord Vishnu. He is simply a Shiva Tattva, is like Vishnu Tattva, just slightly transformed. The example is that of curd and milk. Aren't they the both same element? Curd comes from milk, or yogurt comes from milk. It's the same element, but slightly transformed. So at other places, Srila Prabhupada has said that Lord Shiva is equal to or equivalent to Lord Vishnu. So therefore, this has to be carefully understood. Many people might get, I don't want to add to the confusion. Oh, Lord Shiva is Lord Vishnu, or he is higher than Vishnu, or he is lower than Vishnu. Our minds in the material world are so much in higher and lower. All the time we are comparing ourselves. He has one car, I have two cars. He has 2,000. Every time you say house, oh, you got new house. Oh, how many square foot? What is going on in one's mind is, array, his number is bigger than my number or smaller than my number. That is the purpose. There is no genuine reason to ask how many square foot. Arey Baba, there is enough for you to come and sit and have prasad. How many square foot you need to have prasad? But how many square foot? Arey, it's all, bigger than this. All like, we are so much into this ranking. So we all want to know, who is Shiva? Is he higher than Krishna, lower than Krishna, equal to Krishna? How much equal? How much higher? How much lower? So one should not get into this understanding. It's best to understand Shiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva. And Lord Shiva is highly, highly, highly respectable. Okay. So, of course, Lord Vishnu many times comes to rescue Lord Shiva. Okay. And in Ramayana, we see that Lord Ram had worshipped Lord Shiva before building the bridge or before, going to Lanka. So there is mutual, it's a complex point. I will stop at that. That was your first question. Why is Shiva not on the list?
So we had read the Shiv Purana earlier, a couple of years ago, where it mentions that Shiva can give moksha. And we hear from you today that only Vishnu can give moksha.
Correct. So Lord Shiva, again, one has to properly understand. Now, there are multiple understandings. Now, first of all, there are so many Puranas, among them 18 principal Puranas. And now some of this is now again, we are going a little bit deviating, okay? And today's class, we will go a little bit over time then, okay? Because I really maybe want to finish the chapter, or because only few verses are left, or maybe next time we can finish, okay? Anyway, so my multiple interpretations are there. Now the Puranas also, from a Vaishnava point, there are 6 Sattvic Puranas, 6 Rajasic and 6 Tamasic. Now it doesn't mean Tamasic means they are garbage. That's not the meaning. Means they are meant for people whose tamas is higher, to bring them up to the level of Rajasic and then Sattvic. So our Vedic system is such that it has the books and the processes and procedures to uplift everyone. If you don't know, if you are at a lower level, no problem. Our Sanatan Dharma doesn't reject you. It brings you up from the level you are. So if person is very low, then there are books meant for him. I will give you an example, modern example, okay? Now in Harvard University, topmost university of the world, right? Harvard, one of the. Now everybody has to take one math course if you want to graduate, undergrad from Harvard, regardless of which department you want, which branch, which discipline you want to graduate in, whether you want to graduate in music or arts, still you have to take one mathematics course, one. It is required. Just like on the other side, if you want to graduate in engineering, you have to take one arts course, right? Now, suppose somebody has complete dislike for mathematics, complete dislike, and he is an artist. Artist means like a painter, okay? So, for such a person, Harvard has a course, a mathematics, it's called a mathematics course, but you have to paint like a pineapple, a lotus, because the formation of the petals is mathematical. In the outside circumference, there are some certain number of leaves. Then inside it forms like what is called a Fibonacci sequence. So there is mathematics within art. So they have a course for somebody like that. And these artist people enjoy that, and that counts as a mathematics course. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, they have something called what? E55. I think that's what it is called. Ram, you can correct me, but it's considered to be the hardest math course in the whole world.
Math 55.
Yeah, Math 55 or something. If these students who are good in math, even they are afraid of taking Math 55. If they take Math 55, that itself is like a status symbol. Oh, I'm doing Math 55, So that's the other end of the spectrum. So the whole, and many things in between. Similarly, our Vedic system caters to all kinds of people at various levels. Now, does it mean that arts-based math course is bad, or we should consider it garbage? Absolutely not. It is meant for a certain level of people. So the various Puranas are in various levels. So, and therefore they give different understanding of the same topic. Now, for a person who has no understanding of who is Bhagavan or something, to him, if you tell that Shiva is the Supreme Lord, he can give moksha, it's not wrong, or it's not like we have to, consider it something that is incorrect. Because if one can come to that understanding of who is Lord Shiva, then definitely he will have an opportunity to make further progress and get liberated. Another point, now this is one angle. Another angle is that in one of the kalpas, the Lord Vishnu appoints Lord Shiva to be the supreme owner of the entire creation for one kalpa. And in that kalpa, Lord Shiva can give liberation. And that is what is referred to in Shiv Purana. So that is also said. Okay. And elsewhere it is also said that if Lord Shiva requests Lord Vishnu to give liberation to somebody, Lord Vishnu doesn't decline. So all those interpretations exist, and therefore they are all correct. So one has to take it in the proper context, and it's not that one has to kind of pitch one against the other. There is much deeper understanding involved. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. One more question, Prabhuji. This Katyayani Mata's prayer, gopis do not consider Lord Krishna as a god, and when they ask for Lord Krishna in that prayer, they're asking for Lord Krishna as their husband or as their companion. So how does this count as
Okay.
as an example? Yeah.
It's not true that the gopis don't know that Krishna is God. Now, this is a very, very important aspect. I don't know you attend the Bhagavatam series or not, but that is, I think we have mentioned some places that this is a very important point to understand in the 10th canto, that all the Vrajvasis are simultaneously aware and unaware that Krishna is Bhagavan or Krishna is a simple human. They are aware of both. And this is the dichotomy, or not dichotomy, the dilemma, or that whole sweet mixture of this Krishna is Bhagavan and he is a simple human. Let me show you something. Okay. Okay, where is that verse? Somebody can help me that he is yes. Look at this. This is the chapter of Bhramar Geet. When Uddhav ji goes to deliver the message of Lord Krishna to the gopis. Okay. Where are you, Rajvidya Prabhu? Oh, there you are. Yes. So this is the song of the bee, or Bhramar Geet. All right. And what is happening is Uddhav ji is taking the message of Lord Krishna, and the gopis give him as in English we say, a piece of their mind, which means they basically, like, उनको हिंदी में कहते हैं, उनको झाड़ लगाते हैं, झाड़ लगा दी उनकी, खूब डांटा उद्धव जी को, और like they mocked Lord Krishna, and Uddhav ji is the ambassador of Krishna, so in a sense they are mocking Uddhav ji, but they are mocking Krishna so hard, and see what they are saying. can you read this 17th verse translation?
Like a hunter, he cruelly
This
shot
is
the
being
king.
spoken. This is being spoken by the gopis, primarily. Srimati Radharani is speaking this verse to Uddhavji about Krishna. So this verse is about Krishna, and she's saying, she is counting all the negative aspects of Krishna, that Krishna is such a bad person. Now please read.
Like a hunter, he cruelly shot the king of monkeys with arrows because he was
What
conquered
is
by a
that?
woman.
What is that pastime? He cruelly shot the king of monkeys.
Raja Bali. Sorry,
Not
Bali,
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 but Bali.
Bali, yes. The
Yes.
king, Sugriva's brother.
Next.
He disfigured another woman who came to him with lusty desires,
Because
Supnaka.
he was conquered by a woman. What is being talked about here?
He was conquered.
Surpanaka?
Yes, Surpanaka, and
The disfigured woman was Supnaka.
and he was conquered by a woman, which means like his wife, Sita.
Sita.
Sitaji, yeah.
Next.
And even after consuming the gifts of Bali Maharaj, he bound him up with ropes as if he were a crow. So let us give up the friendship with the dark complexioned boy, even if we can't give up talking about him.
What is that? Which avatar is that? Where he bound up Bali Maharaj?
Vaman avatar.
Vaman avatar. So please tell me, do the gopis know that Krishna is the same as Lord Ram and Vaman Dev and others?
Yes, Prabhuji. This is enlightening, yes. Yeah. So they see him as God as well as berate him at the same time.
So, sorry, say that again.
I'm saying they see him as Bhagwan and still berate him.
Yes, so they are not unaware that he is Bhagwan. There is another one, my wife just pointed out, also in Canto 1, and this is in, Canto 10, and in Gopi Geet. Yeah. Look at verse number 4. Can you read the translation?
You are not actually the son of Gopi Yashoda, O friend, but rather the indwelling witness in the hearts of embodied souls. Because Lord Brahma prayed for you to come and protect the universe, you have now appeared in the Satvata dynasty.
So directly the gopis are saying you are the Paramatma. And the next one, they are calling him Narayana, your lotus-like hand, which holds the hand of goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, and all these things. So it's not at all true that they are unaware. The beauty is that knowing that he is Bhagwan, their love for him is not at all because for that reason. That is the point. How to love somebody purely out of love. It is very hard to love a great man not for his greatness. Somewhere in the heart, it will be that my love for this great man is because he's great. Or being great naturally attracts others. It's very easy to fall in love, and typically that love is somewhere there is a internal motivation. There is some anya abhilashita. There is some desire, अरे हमको कुछ फायदा होगा. I will get something out of it. If nothing else, I will have the satisfaction of loving a great person. If not, I will get money, power, fame, name, nothing of that. At least I will have the satisfaction I loved a great guy. But from that other verse of the Brahmar Geet, you see, they are saying there is no point in loving this rascal. He's such a rascal. They are actually counting his bad qualities. He's done. He never is faithful to anyone. Look at all the things he has, bad things. These are all bad qualities. They are saying, Bali Maharaj gave everything to him. He gave his own head. Okay, put your third foot on my head. And after putting his foot on Bali Maharaj's head and then saying thank you and leaving, what did Vaman Dev do? If you read Bhagavatam, 8th canto, he ties him up. So such a, person of low character. How can you call Bhagavan as in such bad words? That is the beauty of 10th canto. In love, you can do that. In love, you can absolutely do that. And Krishna loves this. Krishna, when he hears this, he is hearing because he is Paramatma. Then he knows these ladies, these gopis don't love me because I am Bhagavan. Because then they would be afraid to say bad things. In Krishna, Krishna loves for them to be angry at him, because it confirms his belief that they really love me. This is real love, because they are getting angry at him. All right?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes.
Okay. Yes. Shyamlila Mataji. And I think Ram Pai Prabhu had a question but lowered the hand. So I don't know if the question was answered or what.
Yeah, sorry, I had Hare Krishna Prabhuji. So yeah, you answered my question, so I lowered my hand.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. Yes. Shyamlila Mataji, you...
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, I also had remembered a verse from the 82nd chapter, the last verse, 10.82.48.
Yes, exactly. Let's look at that also. So 10th canto, we can, have a lot of discussion on proof from 10th canto that they all knew that he is Bhagavan. Yes. Yeah. Why don't you read this?
Yes, Prabhuji. The gopis spoke thus: Dear Lord, whose navel is just like a lotus flower, your lotus feet are the only shelter for those who have fallen into the deep well of material existence. Your feet are worshipped and meditated upon by great mystic yogis and highly learned philosophers. We wish that these lotus feet may also be awakened within our hearts, although we are only ordinary persons engaged in household affairs.
All right. Yeah, so you'll find plenty such evidences in 10th canto. And if you really want a nice discussion on this, or you want to see a nice discussion on this, where is Rajudhya Prabhu? There. So after Govardhan Leela, one whole chapter is dedicated to, is this boy Bhagwan or just a powerful boy? Because lifting a hill, fine, killing a demon, this, that may be fine, maybe the demon had a heart attack right at the right time. It appeared like Krishna killed him, but he had an internal heart attack and he died. One can मन को समझाने के लिए, one can, what do you say, to offer some explanation, but lifting a whole Govardhan hill, how do you explain that? And there is a whole discussion and you can get some sense. So this chapter, Wonderful Krishna, these 4 chapters, 24 to 27, are about lifting the Govardhan hill. A good part of this chapter, Wonderful Krishna, is dedicated to discussion between the Vrajvasis and Nand Maharaj. Is Krishna God or something? Or, did we misunderstand who is Krishna? Who is Krishna? Is he a boy or a god? So if you read that chapter with the commentaries of previous acaryas and everything, you will get a good understanding of this whole thing. This is the fundamental point of 10th canto. And in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, our aim is to love the human Krishna, keeping in the back of our mind that he is Bhagavan. And that is very consistent with the mood of the Vrajvasis in Vrindavan also, as you just saw. Okay?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, I'll read the chapter.
Yes, Shrikar Prabhu, Ram.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Sorry, 1 second, Prabhu. Just give me a second. Okay, I'm just disconnecting my other device. Prabhu, how can one know when trying to determine whether someone has these sort of feelings towards Krishna, anything dasya rasa or higher? How does someone know that it's a genuine feeling versus like some sort of sahajiya feeling, or like they're not actually feeling this way, but then they think to themselves, oh, they claim this way? Like I've heard that someone who has loba will know for sure that they have loba, but what exactly, can you expand on that, Prabhu?
I'm not following your question. So first of all, whether there is lobha or not in the heart, externally, one should not show it. The idea with the sahajiyas, or the prakrita sahajiyas as they are called, is the external show aspect. Now they may say, oh, I'm not showing, it's naturally coming. They will wear a gopi dress or whatever else, and there will be a lot of, other people will not miss that they have a specific rasa, etc., towards Krishna. But again, our acaryas strongly advise us that even if it is there, one should go the extra mile to conceal it.
Right.
Okay? So even if it is coming out naturally, just in the same way, one should not pretend to bring it out. That's what materialists do, or pretenders, right? Mithyachari. They may not have the bhakti, but they may show it. A real person who has bhakti and it's naturally coming out, they should be the opposite. They should also become mithyachari. But on the opposite side, which means to not show those feelings.
They should not reveal. Yeah.
Yes, they should completely keep it in their heart, and they should work on keeping it within their heart. And externally, they should always take on the form of a sadhak, not of a siddha. Okay, Rupa Goswami, all the Goswamis, were they sadhakas or siddhas?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
What were they, sadhakas or siddhas?
They're all sadhakas, Rupa Goswami and everyone.
In reality, what they were?
Siddhas.
Siddhas, but externally their activities were that of a
Sadhaka.
sadhaka. So I forgot what your question was, but
I guess it was two-parted. Like, I mean, the reason I just mentioned Sahajiya is because of what you said, this naturally, like oftentimes, like even in acaryas that are currently present, there's still sometimes people who naturally, without wanting to, obviously, but they still show.
no, they should. So if you are a follower of our Goswamis, if that is the case, you should better stay home.
Yeah.
If you cannot control your natural feelings, then don't go out.
Right.
One should never show, or one should make sure that it is not shown. Even if it is coming naturally, you stay home.
I see. Okay.
Okay, like a person who has virus, he should not go out and give the virus to others. Stay in a quarantine till you develop the ability to suppress those external emotions.
Right.
Okay, and then you can go out in your sadhak bhusha, or in your sadhak appearance, and be just a simple, humble devotee. The other, therefore, for all these things, one of the things that is stressed by our acharyas, not just Srila Prabhupada, even Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, all the way up to Sri Jiva Goswami, in the Sandarbhas it is written, cleansing of the heart is very important.
Yeah.
And that happens by performance of bhakti. So one should perform very sincere, steady, and serious triple S bhakti to cleanse the heart. And one should be very, and this is something one can self-evaluate. Am I having other material desires or not?
Yeah.
You can look in your heart. I don't need to tell, because I can look in my heart and you all are like me. So I can say with guarantee, everybody can look in their heart and know whether there are sense gratification, desires, and to what extent.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So if they are predominant, now they do not have to become zero, because they become zero at the stage of prema.
Yeah.
But if they are predominant at least, then it clearly means that one need to stay in the stage of sadhana bhakti and continue doing your triple S sadhana, triple S bhakti. Don't go into this whole trying to figure out what is the mood and bhava and so on.
No, but Raganuga Bhakti process is part of sadhana bhakti, right?
No, what I am saying is sadhana bhakti in the sense under the guidance of a teacher. Even if the Raganuga path all the more requires a teacher.
Yeah.
Without teacher, you must not venture into Raganuga path. Must not. Vaidhi bhakti you can do without a teacher, some to a large extent, because it is Shastra Shasan. Shastra tells you. Prescription is given in writing, in a book. Raganuga bhakti is not given in a book. Very short it is given.
Yeah.
And the Guru will tell you that. Go clean your heart first. He may tell you the same things. And externally, 1.2.296 verse 294, 295, and 296 in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu give the process of Raganuga Bhakti. The third verse, 296, says that all the aspects of Vaidhi Bhakti apply to Raganuga Bhakti.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, so all this we will discuss. I don't want this to become Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu class, but how this was related to the 7th chapter, by the way?
Oh, I don't know. You pulled up Krishna book, so. Sorry, my question is,
So
sorry.
we will come back to Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, I can just ask later.
Okay. What is the question? I can answer it quickly.
The question was, how does someone know if they have loba, or how versus like some random feeling?
Okay, let's take this offline or in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu discussion.
Okay, thanks, Prabhu.
Anything else? Anyone? We'll stop here. We'll continue from 7.24 next time. But yeah, I enjoyed the Q&A. It's important. Yeah, if anybody has questions, it's better to ask in the class. Many times I do get questions offline and I do answer, but I feel internally that, oh, gee, this question should have been asked in the class. Everybody could benefit. So, you know, if you have questions, please try to ask in the class, because then the benefit is extended to everyone. Okay, we'll see you next week, Anna. Yeah, we'll have class next week. We'll see you then. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, Mataji.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.